everyone, I'm Cassidy Jensen, a licensed professional counselor.
And I'm Grace Allspaw, a licensed marriage and family therapist. And we are both owners of our own therapy practices and passionate about the world of therapy.
This is Two View Therapy, the podcast.
Did we start? Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Yes, this is unstructured. This is shooting from the hip. We just decided, well, we were going to record anyway, but we decided 10 minutes ago what we were going to talk about. So
we switched it up pretty quickly here.
Yeah.
So we were going to go a different route, I think, with potentially body image or the Menendez brothers.
Oh, yes. Well, we can do both of those because I think as the schedule goes, we can do Menendez brothers for our next pop culture reference.
Yeah.
Yes.
But today we're going to talk about fear.
Fear.
Yeah.
How is everyone feeling after the election? I feel, regardless of whichever way you swing, tensions and anxieties were high.
Yeah. I think this week, which obviously we're recording this before it's going to release. So this, when we're recording, is election week. Last night, all the votes were in. We have a new president, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if that was official or not.
I think it is.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
This week, I think as a therapist, I buckled in of what's my office going to be like this week because of the election.
Yeah.
Like,
how has it been for you?
It's not been terrible, actually. I've had more chat about the election in earlier weeks than I did this week.
I had everybody asking me yesterday if I voted. And I mean, I said yes, and I did my civic duty. And I was hoping to God that's as far as we were going to go. And really it was.
Yeah.
So, like, I've beat around the bush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't need to know my stance. We can talk about yours, but it doesn't really matter. I think again, across the board, there's unrest, unsettled feelings, more on edge. I don't know. Yeah.
The way it's again. Jim Bad just blink.
It does. I short circuit a lot lately. I think that's burnout happens. No, I was just trying to kind of reflect on why the last decade or so has seemed like it's been a lot more intense as far as elections go. Because I don't remember it being like this much of a nail biter, people staying up late and rallying around watching their movies. I was just wondering what that was about.
I don't remember a ton of, because this isn't the third election I've voted in, right?
Yeah, yes. I was thinking about that this morning. I think I was able to vote in 2012.
Okay. 2016 would have been my first year to vote. I
think so.
Yeah.
That seems about right.
Yeah. But before that, obviously I wasn't a voter, so like I wasn't paying attention, but I don't remember it being quite as big of a deal.
Polarizing now.
And I think for people crippling. Like it
just that's what I'm talking about. Like this physical unrest.
Yes. The discomfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. I talk with clients all the time about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable because you can't control that.
Like, no, a lot of this is outside of our control. I mean, if you voted, you did your civic duty, you did as much as you could.
And
we can't do anything now.
Yeah. I mean, other than voting, if you were that passionate about it, I mean, you can get out and
just have some involvement,
be part of the campaign, like whatever that looks like. But other than that, this is really out of your control. And that sparks fear of not being able to control the scenario.
Well, and then that's what I think my question is. Over the last decade or so, fear has really crept in more, and that fear has been creating chaos.
I would even say, as I've become a therapist, and not even during election time, like this is my first as a therapist election.
Same.
Yeah. So before that, even I heard a lot about families cutting off because of political views, that
Mhm.
there was disconnect, or friendships were, that's what I'm looking for. Like there was tension or separation
Uh-huh.
because different political views, or
Uh-huh.
fear, and other people not acknowledging that there's fear for them, of like just all the different political things. And I'm really intrigued to see how this continues in my office of fear and unknown, and even
Yeah.
relationships.
I think I'm curious too. I think deep down I'm like, okay, the election is over, so maybe we've settled, but maybe this is only the start, and I
Mm-hmm.
am hoping that's not the case. I'm
Yeah.
hoping, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I'm hoping for.
I think potentially my hope, and maybe it's a little unrealistic, is peace. That like people can be at peace and just allow whatever's going to happen, rather than trying to control the scenario for themselves or others.
I was gonna say something and I totally blacked out.
So rad this morning, apparently. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about finding some peace, yeah.
Mm.
And I don't know if that fear really like catapulted into this election. So maybe, once we know what the answer is, it'll die down a little bit. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's so interesting. I try and stay out of the political world. I don't mean this the way I'm going to say it, but like, I don't care. And I do care. I do care. I'm not going to allow it to work me up, maybe, is what I should be saying, instead of I don't care. I'm not going to allow it to control my life and dictate fear, like that kind of.
Well, yeah, because some people now maybe, do you want the next 4 years to be this intense for yourself? Like, again,
Mm-hmm.
what's within your control here?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Oops.
Oh, sorry. Grace kicked over a lamp.
Sorry.
What can you do? What's within your power?
Mm-hmm.
What's within your control?
Mm-hmm.
How do you practice gratitude? How can you just self-reflect on you as an individual and what this situation means for you?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that can sound a little selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, maybe in general, like this isn't really going to affect me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we have to like make it small like that, because if we're looking at like, oh, this happened now, and then what does that mean for the world? Like, we can't carry all of that on. It's so unrealistic and burdensome.
Well, and yeah, the weight of that. And obviously no election's ever going to go the way everyone wants.
Right.
It's impossible.
People are going to be unhappy.
There's literally no way everyone can be like, yay, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're either in the half that wanted it, or you're in the half that didn't. Or,
somebody's going to be butthurt.
Yes. How can you make the best of the next 4 years without living in fear and anger? And
almost like this state of crisis.
Yes. I was talking with my father, and we're talking about politics, and that it controls people, and it turns into bitterness and anger. And
where we're at, does it not seem like that?
Oh, 100%. It's
everybody's just so pissed at one another.
Yes. And what a sad place to be. You're literally in a mental jail. Like, you are so locked down and unable to challenge or change things that you let it consume you.
Well, and again, like, I don't want to make light of politics, but might there be more to life than politics?
Yes. When I was in Florida, I attended a church there, and they were doing a sermon series before the hurricane, and part of that sermon series was voting is important, but it is not the most important thing. And I thought that was really powerful of like, this does not have to be all consuming. This does not have to be the thing in your life. Like, there can be other stuff.
Yeah.
But that really upset me. Oh. And there was a lot of anger and like mean words.
See, that's what I'm talking about. 10 years ago, would people be that upset about it? What has changed? And maybe my timeline's a little off. What has changed so much where that sermon is pissing people off?
Well, I can't tell you exactly, right? But I would say our world has more fear, more anxiety, more, there's, I guess, less ability to manage situations for yourself.
Regulation, self-regulation.
Yes.
Why? Look, it always comes back to this. Social media. We've got more fear mongering that's just slapping us in the face all the time.
Yeah. I think if we combine like COVID, which was out of anybody's control, right? I mean, for the most part, you could control staying in your home and not spreading and like that kind of thing. But sickness comes and it was so unknown. You just had to do what people said of like, stay home, quarantine, whatever.
Side note, did you ever have to go to one of the like county lines where you stayed in your car? I had to do that for the department where they went like way up your nose like 2 times. It was not fun. But I did get COVID leave for like a week and then I ended up quitting.
Oh. No, the only time I got tested not at home because this was weird. During the COVID stuff, if you got a prescription at all where I went, they gave you free COVID tests. And it was during my time of ear infections.
Oh.
And so I had like 16 COVID tests.
Holy shit.
Because they gave me, I think, 8 each time. Like,
and you never had to do it was like a teeny, skinny Q-tip.
Yeah, I did it the doctor once. And my eyes watered.
Yeah.
Yeah, COVID, man. So if we combine COVID and what that did to people of isolation, unknown, it was so scary for people. It was unpredictable. You had no idea. People who seemed really healthy were dying.
Yes.
And it wasn't making any sense.
No.
And then you add this increase in social media and combine the two of them. Like, Mom, sorry if you're listening, no shit for my language. Like, why wouldn't it scare people? And why wouldn't fear increase? So then an election happened. Then COVID. Then I've seen an increase in social media since then. People were home.
Oh, yeah, we have more time in the...
People started social media then because they were at home.
They had nothing better to do, yeah.
And then now we're back at an election. And after our last election, things got really scary. Out of the control and not because of the election.
Yeah.
But people are scared.
Really much so. I can't even speak correct. Again, yeah, my mind's just wrapping around.
I think for fear, I just gave this scenario yesterday to a young gal. I had one of my fidgets, and I
have some good fidgets right now.
I do. I tossed it to her, and I said, "How was that?" Okay. Were you scared? No. Okay. How would you feel if when I tossed that to you, it popped, just exploded all over you? Well, it probably would have freaked me out a little. Like, yeah. How do you think you'd react if I threw another one at you? Obviously not chucking. I like lightly tossed it.
Nice.
And she said, I'd be cautious and not really want to grab that. And I said, okay, that's fear. That's not necessarily anxiety because you've had this experience before of it's not been like it's been scary and it popped in your face, right? If I had thrown it at you and it hadn't popped, then I threw a second and you were worried about the second one. That's anxiety.
Oh,
Does that make
good
sense?
analogy? Yeah.
She said, "Oh my God." Which it was better when I was tossing the ball and she could feel that of like, there's nothing to worry about here if it hasn't done the thing. So right now I think there is fear of, we have seen different things in politics that people can hold on to and say, this is going to happen again.
Yeah.
Even though maybe that's not true. Like maybe it won't happen again. Right. But then I also think there's a level of anxiety of, it's so unknown.
Yeah.
That
What is this going to look like? How are things really going to change?
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they not? Are they? It's very up in the air. I think both right now we have fear and anxiety.
Yeah, I think so.
And in my mind, they're very different. Fears based on experiences and that, like, or there's a bear in the room. Like, you can literally see there's a threat. There's literal evidence of a threat or that it could happen because it's happened to you before.
Interesting.
Anxiety is the unknown, that you can't see it. There's nothing there that's going to prove you should be scared of that thing.
See, I look at it as, okay, anxiety is fear, and what is that fear telling you? Or why is it telling you anything?
Yeah.
I like your perspective.
I just was reading. I don't even remember what I was reading. And it jogged that for me. I think before I probably would have said the same thing you did.
Yeah.
But that's really shifted for me recently. I do think probably in anxiety there is fear, but the true genuine fear is based on
an experience you've already had.
Or that there's something actively happening that you can visibly see.
Yeah.
Like a bear. Like if your door just broke down and a bear came in, I'd be scared and fearful.
Yeah, I just watched a video last night of a bear cub and a lady holding it, and they kind of purr like a cat when they're content.
Why is it that I think any wild animal I could like convince to like,
right?
I like a lion.
Yeah, they're cute.
They're so cute.
Just have a huge sanctuary of different things. Basically, your own zoo, but you could pet them all. I had some feelings on Peanut the squirrel getting euthanized.
What's that?
You didn't hear about this?
No.
I guess there's this squirrel. This guy rescued it 7 years ago, and he's had an Instagram account for it, and it's been like a family pet. And somebody tipped it off, even though it's been on Instagram, but authorities ended up raiding the home and taking it and euthanizing it for the possibility of it having rabies, which on a different podcast I heard rabies like rarely have squirrels rarely have rabies. Anyway, so now this famous squirrel that was a family pet got euthanized. And
did people riot?
They were petitioning, but they euthanized it like within 2 days of capturing it. So
did you ever watch Tiger King?
But maybe we need to do bring it back by bringing it up. Bring it. Yes. Oh my God.
Tiger King was a COVID time.
Right. How fun was that?
I actually started watching Tiger King with my mom during COVID. And then he said the F word too much. She was like,
that sounds like something my mom would say. She noticed that our episodes are marked as explicit.
Honestly?
Yeah, she was like, why is that? And I was like, well, I cuss some. She's like, could you not do that? And I was like, I think they're going to be marked explicit.
We should bring back Tiger King.
Oh, that could just be a joyous little break. I think he's getting married again.
Yeah, I do too. He's still in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tiger King. I had a hard time with that, of all those animals locked up in such a small space. The older I get, the less I am a fan of aquariums or zoos. If the animal can survive in the wild, why is it there? I'm having a hard time with that.
Is our Okay, no, it's not. That's how Zach feels. And I'm like, I get the conservation piece.
But how is that conservation if none of them are in the wild?
Because we at least have some population, I'm supposing.
Okay.
And I think it depends on the zoo. There's some really great zoos that
The
offer.
Australia Zoo?
I was thinking Columbus,
Oh,
Ohio. They've got a really good one. Tampa.
Tampa does have a good zoo, but I didn't go while I was there. I should have.
Yeah, it's
Pretty good.
though. Yeah, and I would look at populations in the wild versus captivity because they are still poachers and stuff.
True. Yeah, that's a whole thing. I feel like poaching is political. Like, it has a political piece to it of like people want it or they don't.
Yeah.
But whatever. Okay, anyways, back to fear.
Okay, yeah. I was like, how did we get here? But yeah, it was the Tiger King. Did they end up? One second. Did they end up closing that down officially? Because there was that other dude and the lady that he was married to keeping it. You know, the one guy.
It did close because his animals all got distributed. Like, some of them went to Carol Baskin. When that came out, the Carol Baskin killed her husband, whacked him, that song.
Oh yeah.
I like had the little dance to it. My mom and I learned it. It was so fun.
I didn't know there was.
There is. I'll have to show you something.
Okay. Fear.
Fear.
See, we have to just keep light even in this episode because it's just heavy.
You know what? I was thinking that yesterday in my office as I was with a client thinking, is this therapeutic? We were laughing and having a good time.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if we wouldn't have been there, this client would have just been consumed by her emotions she was experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd rather laugh and have a good time sometimes.
Yeah.
Than be crippling.
Yeah, I do notice clients, and maybe we'll see it more. I don't know. I'm hopeful we don't, but I'm wondering how people are going to be able to get out of that. Now it's happened, and now I'm stuck, and now I want to dwell, maybe.
How do you think people get out of that?
Well, that kind of goes back to my previous statement. Like, what's going okay? What are like some small wins? What can you practice gratitude of your specific life? Oh, I noticed the trees were turning today, and you know, the weather's finally cooler, so I gotta open up my window and have a breeze in my house. I think it just has to be simple and just dumbed it down. Because again, we can't fix everything. You're not gonna fix you, me. We're not fixing anything. I can help one client at a time. I hope daily I'm at least helping one person have a better day. That's what I can do. That's really it.
I think even what if this election didn't go the way someone had hoped, right? For them to focus on what can you do for the next 4 years to get by? Like, what would help you feel secure and safe?
Ooh, safe's a good one.
To move forward in the next 4 years and not let this cripple you, rather than allowing it to take you down. And I think that's with anything, like any big life experience you go through. If you're uneasy about it or don't know what the heck will the future look like, figure out what you can do for yourself alone to just make it through that time. Does that make sense?
Do you feel like that's just living in a basic survival mode?
Probably to some degree, but I think if you start there, you can get into a healthy. Does that make sense? Like
that fake it, make it.
What? Which I don't necessarily encourage that.
I'm hearing too, like we're many of us, millions of us. You're just gonna have to find acceptance of this is the situation. Radical acceptance theory.
I just this week, that's so funny. I keep seeing things on my social media about radical acceptance. And really you have to allow certain things to happen or you'll go crazy.
And I think that's some of this disconnect of people like scrambling for some control. and then the more need for acceptance until let go. And that seems to be maybe where we've been at a loss.
Yeah. I will say, there are little things that do not take all that much time or energy that help decrease some of that stress and fear we could do every day, but choose not to.
Why do you think we don't?
I think there's many reasons. I think, one, there are certain people who like to be in that Eeyore phase of woe is me. Truly. Some people, I think, are overwhelmed by starting something new, which checks out. That makes sense to me. I think some people don't know where to start, and that becomes too much. Like, where do I even go from here? I think sometimes we make ourselves busy to avoid what we really need.
So we're distracting.
Avoidance, distraction. I know this stupid thing distracts me a lot. Like, what was the picture that I just watched?
I don't know.
I use that to avoid and distract, even though I know there's other things that would make me feel better.
Look, I've been doing my happy color.
Dude,
Every day.
every day I've been coloring. I'll have to show you my last one.
I've been doing all the ones with cat.
Oh, have you? I kind of avoid those, and I do the dog one.
I did one corgi.
Oh, did you? I have a corgi one too.
You see in a bathtub?
Yeah. If anybody likes to color by numbers, I think we've plugged them before. Happy colors.
Happy color.
It's so good. We're both a little obsessed, I think.
Yeah. I hate when there's just one little sliver that I can't find because I hate having to do the hints.
I last night was doing my happy color and looked all over multiple times on the color page, could not find it, and pushed the hint, and it was such an obvious spot. And I was like,
waste of a hint.
Waste of it.
Because I will click it and like zoom in and like search the whole.
Yes. Yeah. Ridiculous. I love a happy color.
I've been trying to listen to more music, and that's been that was always my happy place and go-to place, and trying to be more consistent with the working out. I did some biceps the other day because we're trying to get the kids involved. So just make some healthier habits.
Yeah. You know, I walk 9 out of 10 mornings. 9 out of 10? Yeah. On those
6 out of 7?
Well, I was thinking like just I walk 6 out of 7 days of the week. That's probably better. On those days that I don't walk, I feel terrible. And walking's really not that, like, not a deal. And my dog loves it. We have a great time together.
Yeah.
But I avoid it sometimes because it's something extra.
Look, Zach and I went to Boston a few weekends ago.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was the quintessential like idea of the Northeast at fall.
Oh, yes.
We were there like 48 hours or something like that. And we walked 15 miles. I didn't even take that many photos because I was just like drinking it in. I got a bagel down the street from our Airbnb, which was in a house that was over 100 years old, and you just like walk places. We walked to Trader Joe's to grab snacks in our pajamas. Anyway, walked and grabbed a bagel, found a random park bench by a boating club or like a row.
Yeah.
Why now? Also, everybody was freaking running and just being healthy and out and about. The scenery just felt inspiring, like you wanted to go out and do something. So we just sat and ate this bagel by this river, and all these rowers are just rowing. We saw so many row teams. You have the people on the tugboats with their bullhorn. Megaphone. There, yeah, yelling at them. I was like, man, I've never seen this. It was cool.
Oh, what? I was thinking about this the other day as well. When I was in Florida, everyone's out and about. You see people walking everywhere. Every day when I walked, there was at least 2 other people out walking with their dogs or themselves.
Yeah.
Here,
I just don't feel as inspired.
I will say, it's sunny and bright there.
Yep.
Here, dreary.
Or fucking hot. Or dry.
True.
Or dusty. One of my clients,
Humid.
the other day when it was like really windy, one of my clients showed me a freaking tumbleweed downtown. And it was the size of a car. How the hell does that get downtown?
Whatever. I do think probably in our area, this is kind of a boring state.
Yeah.
So, like, people don't feel as much of like getting out.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got flatlands. I mean, maybe closer to, why am I not Missouri?
Kansas City?
No, starts with an O. Ozarks.
Yeah. I wasn't going to get there.
Okay. I was like, there's a TV show. Like, I don't know, where you just are seeing more. Yes, there's trails. I mean, if you want to go trail around here, there's not really any.
Mm-hmm. I think, no, you're right. There's not a ton. There are some that I track my daily stress.
Oh, that's right. You got your ring.
Yes, I track my daily stress with this ring. And I will tell you on those days that I do the extra thing, I have less stress. I have more restored time. I'm not in that hyper state of anxiety or fear. I'm just functioning like at a healthy level. So if I could convince you, get out and do the thing.
Something.
I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's this huge, phenomenal thing. Something. Sitting on your back.
See, I feel like having your tea or coffee in the morning.
Just wake up 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
Do that.
I tell my moms that a lot. And you need to set boundaries and tell your kids, this is my time. Go inside. Go.
You drink your coffee in the morning.
I will bring it on the car ride. Yeah. We just don't have enough time because I don't want to get up. I will try to get up early enough to make a coffee, but usually I'm getting ready, and if I want to look cute that day, that requires a little bit more time.
What time do you have to leave?
We leave at 7:20.
Oh, it's not terrible.
Not fun. I don't like getting up at 6 before Zach and everything. Like when I was working second shift, I worked 2:30 to 10:30, go to bed around midnight, just meanderly get up in the mornings, 9, just chillax a little bit.
I would say that's more my life.
Yeah.
But I'm getting up at 6:30 to go walk, or 7:30 to go walk. So I'm up a little bit before 7:30. I can walk at 7:30. Like, that's not super early, but I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I guess it just,
Oof, don't get me started on Sunday and the daylight savings. That was a long day.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It just felt like it was never going to end.
So if you had to put some final words out there about fear and how people can support themselves through what could be a really scary time, what would you say?
What about the situation is really scaring you? What's within your control? How can you find a new hobby that eats up some of your time and you find maybe some passion or joy from it? Gratitude. I think it has to be simplified. Do it basic core here.
You know what? One of my favorite reality TV celebrities, her name's Stassi, and she was kind of like the mean girl-ish. She's just very honest, and I appreciate that about people. I don't condone but she was just very honest and upfront. And she was recently on a podcast, and she said, "I would have hated myself years ago for saying this, but gratitude." But every day, gratitude, dang that, just hitting that so.
I tell that to myself. I need to practice what I preach.
Yes. Yeah.
Anywho, if nothing changes,
nothing changes.
We wanted to say thank you for listening today. You can find our Instagram at 2View Therapy and view our merchandise through our Etsy shop at 2View Therapy.
Please rate, review, and subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. If you are in a mental health crisis, contact your local crisis center, or you can call and text 988.